Good morning, citizens. How are you guys this morning? I know that I said I was gonna not do a show until Monday, but I squeezed this in. I had a busy week, but I squeezed this in last night. Stayed up late trying to put this together because we had some crazy drops. A lot has actually happened in the last 2 days, and I was like, it's gonna be a jam-packed show if I wait it out until Monday. And mostly because I was sat with what dropped in the Popcorn Planet versus Blake Lively case. As you see on the thumbnail, it's midweek update, citizen journalism in danger. We have Andy from Popcorn Planet, and then we got Blake and Ryan with some money. And I actually just took that image from the Give Send Go that Andy has. And then we also have Megan Thee Stallion to the right. If you guys are not familiar with Megan Thee Stallion, she actually was suing a content creator named Milagro, and it was over a court case that she was in, a criminal court case. We actually covered it here on the show. It was called, it's the Tory Lanez episode with Diddy. I'm not sure what it's called, but if you look in my past lives, you can just look at the thumbnail and you'll see Tory Lanez and Diddy on the thumbnail. And we did cover that case, and I was not sure, like, whether or not we're covering his appeal. Basically, Tory Lanez was convicted of shooting or attempting to shoot. He did get convicted of shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the feet, but a lot of people thought that, maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was her friend. Like, there was a lot of inconsistencies. And as a matter of fact, there was even a website dedicated to like all these inconsistencies in the case and stuff. And that's what we covered, that we were like, taking a second look during the appeal. And I believe that he's still fighting it. I think he put another appeal to the appeal because his appeal got denied, but I think he might have taken it to a higher court. I'll have to find an update on that. But during all of this, a content creator who was reporting on it was basically saying that, none of this is true. Made several statements as far as like her opinion on the case. And then Megan Thee Stallion decided to sue her. And there was other things that she did that were like not that cool, that included like a deep fake and all this other stuff. And we'll get into it as we get into the show on what the verdict of that was. But that verdict was on Monday. And we're going to talk about how that was in federal court in Florida, and the difference between that case and Andy's case that was also in Florida, and the impact of Andy's case that's going to be having on citizen journalism. Especially, I wanted to make sure that creators, comment creators, citizen journalists, all that, learn about what are the laws in your particular state, because that comes into play here. So we're just going to go over all of that this morning, as well as use our favorite docketupdates.com. I love that site. I'm glad that it's getting so much love. Let me pull it up here, because that's what we're gonna that's how we're gonna get through the show today. Update you guys on what's so far on the docket. Obviously, what I said, the Andy case, the Megan and Milagro case, and then what's coming up next with Wayfarer, some stuff on Blake, and yeah, we're gonna have a good show. So thank you for everybody that's here. I see Alyssa's a member, Maladaptive, thanking Bizio and I always call you Bizio, Miriam, for the membership gifts. If you guys were not here for the Monday show 2 days ago, Miriam gifted some membership. So you guys, I thought that you got the super chats right away, but apparently it's 30 days. So at the end of this month, you guys will get a free super chat that you guys can use. And I'm working on getting the stickers up here for I told you guys that we were gonna get, I guess they're called emojis here. I have stickers over on TikTok that I made. Here they're called emojis. It's just like special little stuff you could put in the chat for members. And I'm working on that because I tried to upload the ones that I used on TikTok, but it says they have to be 1 megabyte. Is it megabytes? What's MBs? It's 1 MB, and the ones that I have are 1.3. So I have to figure out how to make them smaller, or like how to shrink them. If anybody knows how to do that in the chat or in the comments, y'all can do that. Good morning. Listening on the drive into work. Have a great day. Thank you, Trish. You too. I love that it's kind of like radio, listening in the car. That's really cool. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up our very favorite website, which is docketupdates.com. We're going to start here. And it's so pretty. I love this site. Okay, so if you guys are not familiar with docketupdates.com and this is your first time, this is where we go to find out the latest news and everything that's going on with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively and all the adjacent cases that Blake Lively has sued other people. And they just recently got a buy me a coffee button. So you can click here and you can support them, which I saw some familiar faces in here. Lizzie Lopez and our very own Miriam was in here, Vizio Music. I just wanted to express my heartfelt gratitude for your amazing work. Thank you so much for everything you do. Sending you so much love and keep up the great work. XX. So yeah, it was really fun to see that this morning. I was like, oh, I see some familiar faces. So cool that y'all are supporting. She updates it pretty much as soon as the dockets, or as quickly as she can when the dockets come out. So that's Crystal. I always call her Crystal. Carol Snyder over on TikTok. If you guys want to give her a follow, and I'll link it in the description. But we're gonna go ahead and get into the latest news. And last time we left off on the 26th, which was all the unsealing. If you guys have not caught up on that show, that was on Monday, and that was 2 weeks worth of catching up. So if you were like doing holiday stuff, prepping for Thanksgiving, traveling for, the holiday or whatever, and you missed it, check out my show that I did Monday. It pretty much is like a 2-week recap of everything that happened, including the unsealings. And so we're going to get into what happened since then. So it says Judge Lyman gave Wayfarer a short extension to fix the RFAs, not the technical win Blake wanted. Now, you guys remember that the RFAs were the things that she wanted admitted, the request for admittance, request for admissions, that she wanted. And a lot of people speculated on, I put this on my Monday show, that a lot of people speculated that it was about the 30-point list and the metadata. Because you guys remember the 30-point list of metadata was from July of 2025 of this year. And if she used that to talk about it at the penthouse on January 4th of 2024, then, the math isn't mathing there, because the metadata should match to, earlier if she was taking contemporaneous notes, or, at the very least to when she read them out at the January 4th meeting, right? Like if she just had them that day, the metadata would show that. So a lot of people were saying that she was trying to find some kind of loophole where all her stuff was admitted and it didn't have to be authenticated. But she didn't win that, so that was good. But basically what Judge Lyman said was, you didn't do things a certain way, so I'm going to give you time to do them a certain way so you can avoid her winning on this. That you didn't submit the stuff that you should have to make sure that this is admitted correctly or whatever. So he's giving them a short extension to fix that problem. And so we'll see what happens with that. We're going to keep an eye on that one. And then we also had Blake Lively is not satisfied again and urges Judge Lyman to strip Wayfarer parties of privilege claim on the signal messages. So here she is again. I mean, we've heard so much stuff with these signal messages. And it's all like a bunch of redacted stuff and just basically saying like she wants these signal messages. That's all. That's the gist of all of this stuff. So she's still going at it with that. And then we have the judge extending the sealing deadlines. Now the parties file a joint letter to confirm that the order applies to everything in Jones Works too. So remember that the judge had extended the sealing deadlines to January 9th, right? Everything was not going to be unsealed until they had until January 9th, and then he'll make a decision what gets sealed, what doesn't. And so now they're writing a letter to confirm that it applies to everything and to Jones Work. And so that's what I was saying the other day about how the judge isn't very clear, and it's happened a bunch of times where there has clarification has to be sought. When we were talking about the I was going to say Heath Ledger, Jamie Heath. Sorry, y'all. It's early in the morning. Hold on. Let me sip some coffee. because I really was about to say Heath Ledger, y'all. Jamie Heath. Remember when we were talking about Jamie Heath's birthing video and how, he didn't do the thing, like he misread what the judge was saying, and so that's why he didn't provide all these videos. Like it wasn't his fault. He just didn't like read it correctly. His interpretation of what the judge said was different than what the judge is saying he said. So that's what we were talking about in the last episode, that part of the problem is the judge, and he's not very good at like making his point in his final orders or like how he writes, because Perez Hilton had to do the same when he was in the court with Judge Lyman, where he had to seek clarification. So here they're seeking clarification to confirm that it applies to everyone. And so this one is the spicy one, you guys. This is Blake's audio. So Judge to Blake Lively, if you haven't already, get the CD to the court records department. It wasn't there when Reddick Clark NT67 went to get it. By the way, I love Reddick Clark. He's the best. So remember Monday, I told you guys Reddick Clark was going to go and get that recording. I was like, he might already be there. Well, he ended up going and it wasn't there. It just wasn't there. So then a citizen or someone messaged Judge Lyman, like let them know that, like, it's not there and it was supposed to be there. And this is the same thing that they did with the Claire Ayub recording. They were supposed to file it. It was too big to file any other way. And there's some cool content here from Katie Rose Pope. You guys can check it out if you click continue reading and you go down here. There's more content that you can read on it, but I love her video because, and I'll let you guys go and support her and watch it. But she's basically saying, like, in this day and age, how do we cannot just upload the audio to, like, why isn't there something easier to be able to upload files, right? You have to take it all the way down there, whatever. So he went down there, wasn't there. Somebody let the judge know, hey, it wasn't there. And then the judge wrote this letter basically saying that on November 26th, the court ordered unsealed the audio recording at docket 874, which is exhibit 43 to plaintiff Blake Lively's motion for spoliation sanctions. And you know what I love is that there's so many citizens who are on top of this, like all the unsealings and stuff. We know Carol from docket updates is, of course, but there's other citizens who are also following it so closely that they're like, this hasn't been unsealed, and they're going back into everything that he said was supposed to be unsealed and literally keeping track. So nothing can slide by us citizens. And this was the case to where it didn't slide. I mean, Clark was there Monday morning, wasn't there, and someone decided to let Judge Lyman know. It says, to the extent that she has not already, Lively is directed to provide physical copies of the recording in CD format to the Records Management Department of the Clerk's Office in room 370 of the 500 Pearl Street Courthouse by December 4th. So that'll be tomorrow. Lively shall provide a copy of this order and the court's November 26th unsealing order to the Records Management Department when she does, to facilitate a recording. And then it goes on to say that there's a different recording that has a client that some people are speculating it's The Rock. Some people are saying it's Rebel Wilson. Something about a recording that has a client on it. And so it's going to be kept under seal. So he goes on to say that, but so tomorrow we will have that recording. And from what I've seen from citizens, it's a recording, a voice message from Signal, and it is from Skyline, who made the website. It was a recording that they provided that they're saying that Wayfarer did not provide. So that is that. And then we have, hold on, let me go back. Then we have Florida judge sides with Blake Lively. Popcorn Planet must turn over everything. So let's get into the Popcorn Planet of it all. Let me take a sip of coffee and read you guys's. Oh, and I didn't make it big, y'all. Was it small? Was it tiny? My bad. Okay, hold on. Let me make it big and let me just put myself small down there. So let's see what we're saying. What? Okay, we're not gonna. There's no Andy hate in the chat here. He did not hire cheap. It was a cheap lawyers, y'all. It's too early in the morning for all this. I was not expecting any of this, but we're gonna get into it. Yeah. Yes, I did read the docket, and so we're gonna go over what it was. It was not the lawyers, it's not any of this. We're gonna go over what it actually was. There was some maybe mistakes from the lawyers, but I mean, lawyers are humans too. They're not perfect. There's been mistakes made with the Wayfarer lawyers as well. It's not to say that they're terrible lawyers or anything like that. We're gonna get into the Andy of it all. So here's the letter that came with it. It was a little harsh. I read it pretty harshly from the judge. But there was several footnotes that I wanted to bring to y'all's attention. Let me go to that. So this is the one that I thought was a little harsh. It's like Popcorn Planet is a little more than a YouTube channel. Although Popcorn Planet maintains a website and operates it as an online shop. Let me see if I can zoom in. I think that's as big as I can go. I'll just read it to y'all. I know it's small, but Popcorn Planet has no independent website for hosting its video content. Popcorn Planet maintains an online account through the web service Patreon for fundraising, as well as accounts on other social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Popcorn Planet's social media links directly to the YouTube channels as its homepage and for its content. Popcorn Planet's content, including any paid exclusive content available through its Patreon or web store, is published and hosted exclusively through YouTube. And then it says it contained the wrong citation, which is probably a mistake from the lawyers. I mean, there was plenty of times I know a lot of people were comparing this to Perez. Perez had some wrong citations in his too. So I feel like it's totally different, mainly because one of the things that you guys, I know a lot of people were saying on Reddit, like he should have gone to ACLU like Perez. Everyone was telling him to. From what I know, from comments and things like that I've read, is that he did try to go to ACLU, but the Florida chapter of the ACLU was non-responsive. And so it's different chapters. You know, the Vegas chapter might be more responsive to these things, or the Nevada chapter, whatever it was, for Perez. But also in Nevada, the Nevada Shield Law actually does include bloggers and web creators, whereas the Florida law does not. So he was already going up a very tough hill to climb there. So we're gonna get into the Florida law here, and I linked it in the description, y'all. And I'm not gonna go through all of it, but this is one of the definitions. Professional journalist means a person regularly engaged in collecting, photographing, recording, writing, editing, reporting, or publishing news for gain or livelihood, who obtain the information sought while working as a salaried employee of or an independent contractor for, and then it lists these things: newspaper, news journal, news agency, press association, wire service, radio or television station network, or news magazine. And so basically, you know, by reading the law technically, because for me, it's like YouTube is a channel. So for me, the network is YouTube. YouTube is the network, and you have a channel on that network, and Popcorn Planet is the channel. But they don't treat it like that. And so a lot of people were saying it's just an outdated law in Florida that's really hard to overcome, to prove that, you know, that you are a journalist in Florida. And so hold on one second. Let me pull this one up. Hold on. Because I had okay, here we go. Let me pull this one up. Because I had where it compared them. Okay, so it basically found that it failed on 3 independent grounds. So it was Florida's statutory shield law is narrowly written, and the court held that Popcorn Planet does not fit the statute's enumerated categories. And then it was his operational structure, because he was self-owned. So basically they were saying, like, because he owns the, you know, he owns the LLC himself, and then he doesn't have like someone that edits his work. Under Florida law, that was also a thing. It said the privilege claim was procedurally waived due to failure to produce a compliant privilege log. And people were giving him a hard time, like, oh, you didn't do the correct log and all this stuff. But even with Wayfarer and the signal log, there's been back and forth on whether it is the right log that they're doing, and I blame again the courts. Like there should be some kind of template or something, in my opinion, to because it was the same way with Perez. When Perez showed up to the judge with his privilege log, the judge was like, "You did it wrong." It's like a teacher telling you to do like the homework, but she doesn't give you like how to do it. She's just like, "Hey, go do it," and then you come in and like, no, it's supposed to be on like wide world paper, and like it's supposed to say this and it's supposed to have this. um and I know that, Andy had a lawyer, so maybe it should be more structured. But I mean, Wayfarer has some of the top lawyers, and they keep going back and forth on that signal privilege log and what it's supposed to look like. So, um, I don't know. That whole part about the privilege log, to me, was just I saw it in the Perez thing where they didn't have the right one as well. So I don't know why the judge made that decision that it was like, you know, you didn't have it in the correct format, because I mean, it seemed like he was trying, every time he'd come back with something, it seemed like he was trying to get it right. So I don't know. Um, yeah, let me look at the chat and see what y'all are chatting. Is he gonna get in trouble? Uh, oh, would he get in trouble if he released the documentary? I don't know if he would get in trouble for releasing the documentary or not. Um, but let's all move to Nevada and start a content creator compound. Hey, Jesse and Max, I went through your Instagram because I rarely ever go on Instagram, but I went through your Instagram today because I was just there, and yeah, I just did like a whole deep dive last night into your Instagram. You had some pretty good stuff like that you put together. It was the one that was my favorite was it's Vince Vaughn, that one where it's like content creators versus Wayfarer, and they're like, no, don't go do nothing. And then the content creators are like, no, we're gonna do something. Um, is Bocce in here? I saw someone say, hey, Bocce. But you guys, I want you guys to be nice, okay, in the chat. Andy is one of us. He's a citizen journalist, whatever, other stuff you guys have going against Andy. This is like it's a big deal for citizen journalists. Like today it's Andy, tomorrow it could be me. So yeah, just go easy in the chat, please, y'all. But I saw somebody say, hey, Bocce, is she in here? Oh yeah, it says morning, Bocce. Good morning, Bocce. Oh yeah, there she is. I am. Good morning. I am gonna put a song of yours tonight today because the other day it didn't play. So I'm gonna try and see if that's just YouTube not letting me, or if that was just something going on with my sound. Um, but yeah, so we went over the Florida law. I linked it down there. You guys can see it and for yourselves. Here is the privilege log that was this one. It was the one submitted November 13th. So I'm not sure if this was the final. But this is where people are saying that it was something to do with Melissa Nathan, because over here where it says to or from, and where it said Melissa Nathan, there was, hold on, was it further down? There was some hits on that email. Right here, it said text provided and emails provided. And then also with Brianna Coslow, 10 texts on 6/24/25, unrelated to the case. So I don't know if it was communications about the documentary. Like, we don't know what's in them. And another thing that I saw confusion on, there was some content creators that were like, well, Andy should have worked with us when we were working as a team. And, he chose to go alone. And so, like, these are the consequences type thing. But this is not the Google subpoena, y'all. A lot of people were confused and thought this was still the Google subpoena. This is the TMZ3 subpoena, which Perez Hilton, Andy Signore, and Candace Owens were a part of. Y'all remember I said that I reached out to Candace Owens. I never heard back. I'm going to try and reach back out to them after the show today. I'm going to send another email because I wonder what happened to that, if it ever got squashed, or I say squashed, quashed or not. But those were the last two left, was Candace and Andy. And so this is the personal subpoena to him. And so, yeah, a lot of people were saying that it was the messages to Melissa Nathan that the judge wants in full. But basically, the judge saw the stuff in camera, and then a lot of people are saying that he might have thought that it was relevant to her case, and that's why he's making him produce it all. I'm not quite sure, but regardless of what people are saying in the chat, I feel like we should go support the channel, support Andy. I mean, he's one of us. He's got the documentary going. I feel like he's put in a ton of work on the whole, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni stuff. He's also, like, from my experience and what I've experienced of him, whatever other people's experiences are, I'm not taking away from that, but from my experience, he really helped out Ellsrich and the kids over in Ghana when we did the Save the Kids Pool stream. He was one of the first creators to ever ask me to come on a stream. And so I haven't had the experience that other people have had with them, and I've had nothing but positive experiences. So I'm here to support another citizen journalist. And if you guys would like to also support Andy, he does have a Give, Send, Go. That's where I got that one picture from. I linked it in the description. And another way that you guys can support is just by subscribing to the channel and supporting the channel and all that stuff. So yeah, we're going to play nice this morning. I actually have Jesse and Max, Asshole Media. I didn't feature anything from creators today except for this one, and then some other stuff with the Milagro and Megan case, but just a few sprinkled here and there because it was a last minute show. But Asshole Media, who's in the chat here, Jesse and Max, I appreciate all their hard work also on the Blake Lively front. They mostly just make images and stuff that creators can use, which is really cool. And they're not on TikTok anymore. They're mostly on Instagram and now back on X. I've seen them been posting on X a lot. So it says, if Ryan and Blake find out who talked to Andy, I fully believe Ryan will make sure they never work again. That's why I think they want this. They're using the color of law to accumulate a blacklist book, in my opinion. So this is the citizen chatter. Some people are like really worried. I know on Bocce's live, she was like really worried that like what's going to happen to this cast and crew, and yeah, so it says, what's the date? December. Does this one have the date? December 17th. So he's got to turn all this in for December 17th. He hasn't made a video yet. So you guys go subscribe and turn on your notifications to get that video to see, if you guys want all that tea. I will try and bring it to y'all as well. But he'll probably be making a video today, I assume, because yesterday when it was all going down, he was covering the Jada Pinkett case, which I watched the video, and it's really, really intriguing, that Jada Pinkett case. It's basically someone is suing her, and I don't know if Will Smith is involved too, but it's a spicy case. It has it's super spicy. But yeah, so that's what he was covering. So I'm sure he's probably going to make a video today on it. But he has until December 17th. So that's the Andy of it all and the implications that it has. But we're going to move into another case that also has implications for citizen journalists. And it's also out of Florida, except for this is in Florida federal court. So it's a little bit different. And so that's why for citizen journalists, I would recommend right now, even create comment creators, because there's a lot of people who are just in the comments. Yeah, Will Smith's assistant. Thank you, Maladaptive. It's his assistant that's suing her. And yeah. It's a pretty interesting case. He had all the court dockets. I love it when people have the court dockets when they report on stuff, because it's interesting for you to read it on your own. So I wanted to download all of it to read it, because I wasn't on the full live. I just got the little snippet that he clips. Hi there, lovely people from Transylvania, Romania. It's Vamps, the one and only. Oh, look, it's but Andy is a journalist. This is just ridiculous. Oh my gosh, I love Nerd Report is here. He's one of my faves. If you guys don't follow Nerd Report, please give him a follow. That is Luis. I always, when I first saw him, I didn't know him and Andy were friends. And I'm like, he reminds me of like a Hispanic Andy. And it's just funny because they're like really close friends. But yes, he is a journalist, but it's an outdated law. That's the thing. It's like, we were talking about I was talking about it with friends last night, and we were talking about how the implications this has for like Medium or Substacks or Matt Tiver or like Glenn Greenwald, like these people who are considered journalists by any means, and they wouldn't, if they were in Florida, they would not be considered a journalist based on this definition. And I know that when I put it into chat, I know ever since Bocce started putting stuff in chat too, I'll ask chat like, well, what do you think? And chat was just saying that, yeah, it was just an outdated law, and it's also up to the judge's interpretation of that law too. So it seemed like the judge was just out to get him, y'all. I'm sorry, but it it didn't read like very professional to me when I read it. It just kind of read like she was kind of out to get him. Um, yes, I do think it might be trolls or bots. Yes, I saw a lot of bad comments about Andy, and they go on everyone's channel and they say the same thing like bots. Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, this morning, I don't want to do that this morning. Like I said, I've had nothing but great experiences with Andy. He's one of us. He's helped raise money for the kids. I've only seen him do positive things. So, that documentary seems like, it was going to be a pretty positive thing. And I hope it comes out. Oh, Nerd Report says, "Oh, thank you. Andy is a white Luis." Ah, I love that. Flip it, flip it. But I'd love to collab with Nerd Report because he does a lot of like the Marvel stuff too. And that's like my other little side quest that I like to do. I like to do Marvel content on the side as well. But yeah, we should collab soon, Nerd. Maybe on anything, something. It'd be fun. Um, Stay strong, Andy. The truth will come out. I'm just sorry that they're doing this to you. Yeah, and it sucks. So we're gonna get into the Megan Stallion of it all, because this is another defamation suit. Megan Thee Stallion wins defamation civil suit against blogger Milagro Grams in trial. And I don't know why I say Milagro, like it's the Spanish in me. Because then every other word just sounds English, but then when I say Milagro, it sounds so Spanish. But Milagro Grams in the trial. Here is, I mean, I'm sorry, but the court fashion from Megan Thee Stallion was just so cute. She was really, really cute. I loved her court fashion. The shades, like it was just all of it. It was giving. So it says she won a defamation case against blogger Milagro Grams. On Monday, December 1st, the Florida jury ruled in favor of the rapper, real name Megan Pete, 30, after she filed an October 2024 lawsuit against the blogger, real name Milagro Elizabeth Cooper, for alleging that she was a paid surrogate for Tory Lanez and spread lies on his behalf. So this is kind of like how Blake is like, well, Andy is smearing me on behalf of Justin, which is just so crazy because this judge is not taking into consideration that Judge Lyman said it couldn't be anything after February, right? Because it's not a continuous smear campaign. And so anything after she filed the amended complaint or the CRD or the complaint shouldn't come into play. And I think I remember that Judge Lyman said February was the cutoff, but I guess she's just not caring because, like you guys saw in the privilege log, that one conversation was from June of 2025. So I don't know. I know on Bocce's live, she was trying to figure it out too. Like, wait, 6 months from what? We were all just kind of stumped. Like, we were not expecting this. I honestly was not expecting a decision that quickly. From when the in-camera review happened, I thought maybe it'd take like a week or so, but it seemed like maybe she had her mind made up and she just wrote it up, and because I wasn't even expecting that from that docket. But so it says, per NBC News, there was 5 men and 4 women that sided in favor of the Grammy winner. But this is where the twist is, and the gag is, y'all. The plaintiff was initially awarded $75,000 by the jury before the U.S. District Court Judge Cecilia M. Altanaga reduced the amount to $59,000 per NBC News after determining Cooper should be treated as a media defendant. So this is something that just came up, which is what is a media defendant. And I'm going to play the video for you guys on what that is. A source tells People Cooper may also be responsible for recovering the rapper's legal fees in the case. So she ultimately was not held liable for the defamation portion, but just for the other 2 portions, because the judge later ruled, her lawyers, Milagros' lawyers said, like, but wait, she's a media defendant. So let me go ahead and play that video and chat with y'all in the chat for a little bit while y'all listen to this. So yeah, let me play it.
Going to be thrown out. So in Florida, which is where this lawsuit was filed, if a defendant is qualified as media, meaning someone who acts as a journalist or news outlet, they get a special legal protection. It basically means that if you are deemed media, before someone can sue you for defamation, they first have to send you a formal notice that they plan to sue you so that you have the chance to correct or retract whatever you said. And if you really are deemed media by the court and you are never served that notice, that defamation suit or claim against you could be thrown out entirely. You see where I'm going? Well, for this case, Milagro's team argued that she is media. They said her online moniker, Milagograms, is trademarked as entertainment. They said her platform, Mob Radio, is a registered LLC. They said she has a contract with Station Head for Mob's Radio. She's interviewed public figures like Judge Joe Brown, Nicki Minaj, and Bia. And she's appeared on, moderated, and been featured on panel discussion and commentary-styled shows, all of which they say shows that she is a media defendant. Yet, she was never served the formal notice from Meg's team, which means she was never given the opportunity to retract or change what she said. And therefore, her team argued that the defamation claim must be dismissed. Now, Meg's team, on the other hand, argued that Milagro is not.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there. But so the difference also in this is that Andy is not a party to the case. He's just being subpoenaed, right? In this case, Milagro was a part. She was the one being sued for defamation. And this also comes into play with the Kim Kardashian stuff earlier in the year. You know, right after Perez went to court for the Blake Lively stuff, he then got a cease and desist from Kim Kardashian's camp for reporting on the Kim and Ray J lawsuit. So if you guys, I don't know if anybody remembers that in the chat, but you know, that was the right thing to do, was to send a cease and desist prior to filing a lawsuit. And apparently here, they did not do that, and that is why the judge ruled against the defamation portion. That the jury had ruled that there was defamation, but then the judge backtracked and was like, you know, no, she is a media defendant. So I'm just going to finish playing it here. It's just really interesting stuff. So this is for all of like the law nerds, because I felt like the two cases, while they were not super similar, it's both are going against citizen journalism, and we're going to finish that People article where and hear from Milagro herself. She put out a video as well. So let me just finish this one out, and I'll check out the chat and chat with you guys.
Media. They said she has said herself that she's not a journalist or a reporter. And at one point she said, quote, "I shouldn't be regarded as a news source any damn way." And so Meg's team says they were never required to serve her this notice. And so that became a big question for this case. Is Milagro truly a media defendant? And the judge left that question up to the jurors. The jurors had to answer a few questions regarding if Milagro was acting as a media outlet when she made the defamatory statements against Meg. And for context, some of the defamatory statements were, "All this case taught anyone was that your father, brother, cousin, or son could face over 20 years in prison without proper evidence, a botched investigation, and another likely suspect just because non-credible witnesses said you did something and y'all slow asses cheering."
And so this could also be, because look, this is on her ex, right? It could also be, that's what I'm saying, it can also implicate comment creators. If you guys don't know what a comment creator is, it's someone who has like insights and creates like basically commentators, but they're creating content in the comments. Like, you know, there's super sleuths that'll put like their super sleuthing in the comments and all that stuff. So I feel like this could imply to like you literally have to put "in my opinion" on everything and clarify and double clarify these days, because like no one's safe. Like even my little ticker bar, I put it through ChatGPT and it was like, that little ticker bar won't do nothing. It's doing nothing for you, girl, except for getting some LOLs from the chat. But I am going to make a more proper disclaimer. And I know that Docket Update Since has had a disclaimer on their website as well. But yeah, I'm going to get a more proper one because I love chat, like read me to filth. They're like, dude, that ticker is doing nothing for you, girl, legally.
Another statement, "I believe that this is exactly how they feel about you, Megan. I believe that this is exactly how they feel about you. We know you a lying ass hoe and you have absolutely ruined Tori's life." Another statement, "Was Megan Thee Stallion caught trying to deceive the courts again?" And some of the other statements were, "Let me go find this receipt of Megan's ex-bestie telling me she wasn't effing T. Ferris. That's her guardian." And another statement, "What is Megan's mental status? Does she have a guardian or not? Has she been listed as a capable person? Has she ever been deemed like legally The R word, like anything of that nature, anything of the sort. And then more statements. You ought to be somewhere for your alleged crimes, drunkie. Why do you even speak? Like, does your liver even function well? And another statement,
Sorry, I don't mean to like laugh, but I mean, honestly, she's just like venting. Like, I don't know. This is to me all opinion. But that made me laugh.
Pete comes from a family of alcoholics, because the fact of the matter is you have a grandfather that was an alcoholic. Was your daddy on drugs, or was he in and out of the system? What was that? Do you want to talk about that? Is stealing worse than drugs? So those are the defamatory statements. But again, the question is Milagro considered media? So here is how the court defined a media defendant. The instructions given to the jurors said that a media defendant is someone who is engaged in the dissemination of news and information to the public in order to initiate uninhibited, robust, and wide open debate on public issues. And so the questions the jurors had to answer was, number one, if during the time period when Milagro made the statements I just read, was she providing disinterested and neutral commentary rather than advocacy for a particular client or personal interest? And to this question, the jurors said no. When she was providing those statements, she was not providing neutral commentary. The next question, and this is all on the verdict form that they had to answer, was during the time period when Milagro was making the statements, was she regularly disseminating news or information to the public rather than making a one-time video or comment? And to this question, the juror said, yes, she was regularly disseminating information. Question number 3 was, during the time period, was Milagro impartially disseminating information? And to this, the juror said no. She was not impartially disseminating information.
So it's also about like you're being impartial or not, like, showing both sides or whatever. There's a lot that I was like learning because, I mean, as journalists, and both of these decisions have a lot of implications. But I think the main thing, if you are a creator and you're watching this, or if you are a content creator or just making a blog or anything that you do, is find out what the laws are in your state about citizen journalism, because each state is different. Like Nevada has, DFJ can concur in the chat on this, because if you guys go over to her channel, she has a really good video on the Nevada Shield Law when the Perez stuff was going on. She did a deep dive on the Nevada Shield Law, the implications on why journalists are protected so much over there, because there was a journalist that was murdered in Las Vegas. And yeah, her video is really good if you guys wanted to deep dive into the Nevada Shield Law. But and then there's like New York, there's California, there's all these different states that have different laws when it comes to the definition of the citizen journalist. So that's one. And then the second one that I saw a lot of was like making sure that you're reporting both sides. I feel like I report both sides, but I'm more leaning towards Baldoni just because, like, in my opinion, that's another thing. It's like, what is it going to take our ability to like choose a side? Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, it seems like TMZs choose the sides all the time, right? So I don't know about the impartiality of it or how to like navigate that, but definitely going to be reading up more on this and learning more, because it is something that's, dangerous to citizen journalism. Like, what can we say? What can we not say? Is allegedly enough? Is, in my opinion, enough? So let me just finish out this video as we reflect on that.
The next question was, during the time period, was Milagro operating for the purpose of informing the public about matters of public concern through news, reporting, analysis, or commentary?
Okay, somebody in the comments just said, hold on, I'm gonna pause it, that Andy has his lawsuit in Florida, right? Megan Milagro's case was there, which makes the ruling for Popcorn Planet make sense. One of them was federal court, and the other one is regular Florida court. So that is the difference between them. Why there's a difference between them. And then one is just the subpoena. One of them is just he's not a party to the case. He's just getting subpoenaed for the information he has on the bigger case, whereas Milagro was actually a party to the case. So there's a couple differences here and there. Let me finish that video. Hold on, let me push play, and I'll continue.
Said yes. The next question was, during the period, do you find that Milagro was functioning in a manner similar to traditional news media, such as newspapers, magazines, TV, radio, and other online equivalents? And to this question, the juror said yes. She was basically like other media outlets. And then the final question was, do you, the jurors, find that Milagro should be treated as a media defendant with regards to the statements she made in this case? And to this question, the jurors said yes, she should be treated as media. So while some of those questions went back and forth, the final question seems pretty clear. And the judge previously said that the final judgment would reflect if the jury considered Milagro media or not. And so in layman's terms, what that means is while the numbers on this verdict form total 75,000, 16,000 of that is for the defamation claim. So if the defamation claim is thrown out, as the judge indicated she would do if the jurors found Milagro to be media, that means Meg would really walk away with 59,000, 75 minus 16. But that doesn't include the attorney's fees that Meg could also be awarded. So the final number is probably going to be different than everything that's being reported today. But regardless of that, I found this whole media defendant argument to be interesting, especially considering people like me and many other people who are doing this kind of independent reporting. And I'm curious how y'all feel. Do you think there should be a difference between people who report neutrally versus people who add more commentary with their reporting? Do you think this wave of new media should be viewed like more traditional media, or is it something completely different to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And I think I'm going to talk about this on my podcast this week. So if you want to share your thoughts directly with me, you can do so at speakpipe.com/I'm not a lawyer, but go leave me a message and tell me.
And you guys go follow this creator. She's really, really cool. It's I'm not a lawyer, but over on Instagram. I'm gonna like it over here on Instagram. But she also has a podcast, and it was really, really informative. I don't know if y'all found it as informative as I did. I know, a lot of you guys are here for the Baldoni lively stuff. But this case, I know Pam, our friend Pam, I don't know if she's here this morning. I saw Bruce is here this morning. Shout out to Bruce the Moose. But yeah, Pam Entertainment TV covered this. I know Nag, not actually Golden, also covered a little bit of this over on her channel. But it's interesting. And the questions that she posed too, like, do you think that people should be allowed to report with their own commentary? Or do you think that, it should just be like impartial and you can't give like your opinion on it? Like that's what's considered a journalist, to just report the news and not give any opinion. And then also the new wave of media, like, is newspapers and all that stuff considered journalism outdated? Because Bocce made a good point when she said that the whole reason why she's going to the trial in New York is that she doesn't think that New York Times is like believable. So she wants to be in the court with her eyes and her ears, and not someone else's. And I love that DFJ said she cleared it up. Hold on, up here. Who it was, Jeff German. Exactly. Las Vegas was built on corruption, so journalists are very protected there. And after Jeff German's trial, even more so. That was the guy who got unalived for just being a reporter. Let's see. It says, wow, Andy has stood by his word that he would go to jail before revealing sources. That is he online now, or did he just put out something, DFJ? It's ironic that Florida shield laws are not that strong, given that they have the best sunshine laws in the county for trials. Andy was reporting fairly. Yes, just Khaleesi. He was. Absolutely stood on his word, but I'm sure the thought of having to go to jail isn't what he wants. I thought that was badass of him. Did he put out a video and I missed it where he said that? Or can somebody update me on whether is that going on right now in real time, or it was something he said last? Because I didn't see a video before I started. I looked to see if he had posted anything. Miriam says, legacy media most certainly seeps their opinion into their reporting. It is mostly op-ed disguised under reporting, which is actually only reporting on facts. Oh, that's why I didn't see it yesterday's live. Okay, yeah, because I only saw the live portion that he clips. Okay, so then thank you. If anybody else knows anything else that was said by Andy, because I thought that he didn't have a video out yet or whatever. The last thing I saw was in the comments that he was just reporting on Jada, and they're like, does he know this or what? He happened to be live on on Jada when the order came in. So I only saw the clip that's in the video. I wasn't there for the actual live. So yeah, that is that on the Megan Thee Stallion. I hope you guys liked this show and the coverage with both cases to show you guys, like, what's really going on. But as you saw, even I'm not a lawyer, but she's saying like, this has implications for me. Luckily, the judge made the right choice there that, she was considered media. So we're just going to finish that article out. Pete told reporters, "I'm just so happy." Well, we respect, and this is rep for Milagro. While we respect the jury's decision, today's verdict raises serious concerns about the future of free speech online. This case highlights the increasing vulnerability of independent commentators, bloggers, and digital creators who discuss public figures and matters of public interest, Cooper's attorney, Natasha Ben Aim, said in a statement obtained by People following the ruling. So this is where the First Amendment comes in. The First Amendment was designed to protect open dialogue, including criticism, commentary, and opinion, even when it is sharp, uncomfortable, or controversial. And, there's this whole thing like, when does it border on bullying and all this stuff? But it's like, it's the internet. You have to have a thick skin. Like it happens to even us as creators. Like you don't have to be a Blake Lively or a Megan Thee Stallion, just a regular creator. You just saw what's going on with Andy in the chat. Like, and nobody's going to go and sue these people. You know what I mean? Like this is just part of the thing of being a public figure. So when verdicts like this occur, they can create a chilling effect. Everyday people may become afraid to speak, post, or participate in public conversations out of fear that they will later face litigation for their words. We remain proud of the defense we presented and of Ms. Cooper's willingness to stand up for her voice. Regardless of today's outcome, the broader questions about protecting online speech, defining the boundary between opinion and defamation, and safeguarding independent creators will continue to be critically important. According to CBS News, Pete previously appeared in court in Miami on November 21st and testified that Cooper's actions deeply affected both her mental health and her music career. The rapper went on to share that this case has made her so depressed that she felt like she was not worth living. And that is like, okay, I do feel for that. But also, like, I remember when Selena Gomez was going through that stuff, she didn't go and sue. She just hired someone to be like her social media moderator, and she just stayed off social media, right? And what I wonder is like, why didn't they sue the lawyers that made the website, the Tory Lanez, 36 hours later? It's let me pull it up real quick. Because I'm like, why didn't they get sued? I mean, and I understand that this girl kind of went overboard because she created some kind of deepfake video too of her. Okay, wait, that's not it. Let me go look. Hold on. Because I want to show you guys this website. And I believe it was the defense team that launched, the legal team that launched this website. But I was like, it was pretty much saying the same thing, that it was like not true. And I mean, this girl kind of went overboard, but it just seemed like opinions. I mean, you guys saw the defamatory statements. It just seemed like she was just talking crap. Let me see if I can find this website. Sorry, y'all. I think it's called 36 Hours Later. I thought it was called something like that. Let me see, is the link here? Nope, the link's not there. How come I can't find the link? Tory Lanez 36 Hours website. Okay, that's what I had it. 36 Hours Later. Yeah, how come it wasn't coming up? Okay, so look, the truth uncovered, suppressed evidence proves Tory Lanez is innocent. And they made this whole thing about how like she's like lying about it. And even though like she won her claim or whatever, why are they like, I don't know. And then there's like all the video, but maybe because it's all like legal footage, like, like stuff that's in court, videos and stuff that's in court. But this is the one we went over on the channel, and it just seemed like there was so many inconsistencies, and maybe she was, maybe he was being falsely accused or whatever. And I don't know the case deep enough. I just, surfacely, I read this website and I read some of the other docs for the appeal. But I'm not one to know like whether, he did it or not. It just seemed like there was some inconsistency. So this is the website 36 Hours Later, if you guys are interested in that case and what happened. But I'm like, why didn't the person who made that website get sued? It's just really weird that it's like super nitpicky on this girl Milagro. And I think they try to go after DJ Academics too. Because I remember he did a what is it called? Not a deposition for this case. And he like caught, like they forgot to, some of her lawyers some of Megan's lawyers forgot to like stop sharing the screen, and he saw like all kinds of stuff like they were being not paid by Jay-Z, but he saw some stuff about Jay-Z. I covered it on my ex. I don't really remember exactly what it was, but I remember they really screwed up that deposition because her lawyers just started sharing the screen on accident, not knowing that he could see it. So it says in the lawsuit, Pete alleged that Cooper acts as a paid surrogate for Lanez and spread lies on his behalf per court documents obtained by People. The rapper alleged Cooper shared a deepfake porn video of her to X and falsely claimed that the firearm Lanez used to shoot Pete was missing. So the deepfake stuff I don't condone because like nobody's doing anything like that. We're just reporting news, right? But so that was a little too far. But as far as the defamation and like her opinions on X, people talk crap on X, and especially on X. People feel like they could just say whatever. But that's why there's, the report button, the block button, the mute button. There's a ton of things. You don't have to like want to take your life over it. You just mute these people. Pete's lawyers claim that the Los Angeles Police Department had the firearms. Additionally, the lawsuit pointed out Cooper's continuous doubt over whether or not Peterson actually shot Pete, despite him being convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison. But just because someone is convicted, I mean, he's on appeal. It doesn't mean that it's, Bible. I mean, yes, sure, you were convicted, but if he's actively appealing it, people can still be curious and think the opposite. That's just like our opinion. Lanez was convicted of assaulting Pete with a semi-automatic firearm, carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm. The shooting occurred after a dispute between the two rappers and Pete's former assistant and ex-friend Kelsey Harris in Los Angeles. And so that's who a lot of people thought it was who actually shot her, was Kelsey. And I mean, that's just people being curious. Like, there's still speculation about other court cases where people have been convicted and some people think that they're not guilty and stuff. So I don't know, but here is the response from Milagro herself. I'm going to play that, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the Wayfarer stuff as we wrap the show up.
Appreciative of you guys. Somebody said, I heard you lost your lawsuit. I heard you should go stream. I heard you blocked too. Listen, all I'm ever going to do is block y'all. I don't get on the internet and cry about what y'all say. So thank you for the engagement. And so shout out to New Media. Like I said, thank you to everybody that has supported me. And hold on, let me block you too, baby. Hold on. See, you see all these fans of mine? You see how they gonna run over here to come see me? As always, we love you back. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And I can't wait for us to get back to it because we ain't even did a show in a while. So I'm excited about that. And child, one chapter closes, another one opens. Don't let certain things be the end of your world. You know what I'm saying? Handle your shit, hold your head up, chin up, buttercup, and keep it moving.
So that's what she had to say. And I thought it was not funny, but I thought it was when she said she's going to make a mixtape, because she's like, it seems like you can talk crap on, music, but you can't report on it. And if you know, y'all, I'm a rapper. So I was like, should I just stop? Should I go from citizen journalist to CJ the rapper? Because, will it keep me safer to just rap about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? I don't know, but it was funny to me because look at what's happening with Drake versus UMG and all that and rap lyrics, like you're not even safe there, girl. Like you're not even safe there. So, she did go too far with the deep fake. That's not us. We don't condone any of that. So, maybe she should have to pay for that because, that's taking it a little too far. But as far as the just commentary about her dad or just saying like, are you under a guardianship? I don't know if they were thinking that she was like on some like Britney Spears or like Wendy Williams type of guardianship or something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really like follow that case. I just found it compelling because of the similarities that they were both in Florida and like the whole definition of a media defendant. I was really sat with that last night. And that's when I was like, dude, I need to make a show on this because this has a lot of implications for everybody. So I hope you guys enjoyed that recap. Let me go look at the chat and see who else is here and what's going on over here in the chat. I'm glad that there's some positivity going on for Andy over here in the chat now. Yes, Lauren is in Florida and people are like, we stand behind Andy, so that's cool. The ruling basically made it okay for journalists to lie because the whole guise of the case was incorrect. It was lawfare against Trump. I don't know which case are you talking about? Is this the BuzzFeed one? Are you guys talking about the BuzzFeed case? Wrathful says, before I planned on making my YouTube channel, I actually trained myself to handle the toxic crap online. Yeah, it's just, you either mute it or like, that's why we have mods here. You know, because I don't like to see that on my chat. I don't like to see negativity on my chat. So I just have the mods take care of it. And there's a difference between just like straight up negativity and like opinion. Like opinion is fine. We can have like different opinions. But once it gets like escalated to where people are like just like being mean, I just don't like that. So that's why there's the mute button and the block button and all that stuff. Oh, thank you, DFJ. You put it in there, 36hourslater.com. Thank you. I just wasn't looking at the chat. I was just like trying to find it on Google. But I do appreciate that. I should look at the chat more because the mods are always there helping me and then I miss it. So we're going to move into what the rest of the calendar said. Let me go back to it. Hold on. Which is Wayfarer parties files an answer to New York Times anti-SLAPP case. Wayfarer parties call out New York Times for unclean hands. Van Sham, perhaps. And if you guys want to update on what the whole like Van Sham stuff, I know DFJ has a couple videos over on her YouTube. So give her a follow and go check out those videos. I don't know if she still has them up or not because there was, or was it just partial that got taken down, DFJ? Because I know that those videos, when it comes to Van Sham, they get taken down. And I'm pretty sure there was one that of hers that did. But she covers the Van Sham stuff. I know not actually Golden, her videos were muted, but she was covering all that stuff. And so what does unclean hands mean? I pulled it up here for you guys. The unclean hands doctrine that they're citing is an equitable defense that bars relief to a party who has engaged in inequitable behavior, including fraud, deceit, unconscionability, or bad faith related to the subject matter of that party's claim. The unclean hands doctrine is also known as the clean hands doctrine or the dirty hands doctrine. The unclean hands doctrine typically applies only to equitable claims, such as requests for injunctive relief or specific performance, but some jurisdictions permit it as a defense to legal claims as well. So they're claiming unclean hands, which could be fraud, deceit, or bad faith. So that's why a lot of people think Van Zan's going to come into play. I was on a TikTok live last night with Yarn and Law and Same Girl Different Time, and they were basically saying that like New York Times effed up by filing this, because that's the way I see it. I'm like, they were already in the clear. They had gotten dismissed, and then they're like, nah, we want some smoke. Like they wanted some smoke from Wayfarer, so they filed this New York Times anti-SLAPP lawsuit. And the craziest part is that Same Girl Different Time did a search, and if any citizen sleuths in the chat want to help her out in this search, she looked and looked and looked and could never find another time that New York Times has done this. They have had other instances where they've been dismissed from defamation lawsuits and stuff, and they've never come after someone. And it's for $150,000, which is so crazy because we know the New York Times has more than enough money. Like this seems personal. It seems like they might have done it for a certain reason. Same Girl Different Time thinks it's because they didn't want Wayfarer to file a 60B motion, like an appeal sort of thing. And they explained the 60B motion. I wish that Yarn and Law would put her stuff like because you have to literally just be in the live to be able, but because they have really good content over there on TikTok, especially them two, Same Girl Different Time and Yarn and Law. But unless you're like there in the live. And so I don't really remember much of it, but I do remember the 60B part, and they explained what that motion was or whatever, and that maybe this is why they had filed the anti-SLAPP. But I remember her saying that like this was a bad idea because now, you know, Wayfarer can come back, and now like they're gonna drag, you know, this out. Like this is gonna be a battle now, and New York Times against Wayfarer. And you know, we do know based on the metadata that they may have had this information prior. And we know just based on the video that they went through thousands of text messages and emails. And so for them to say that they were reporting on just the legal paperwork, I don't know if that's quite true. But if you guys want a deeper dive on this anti-SLAPP complaint, docketupdates.com, you guys can go over there, and under the blog, it's this one, New York Times anti-SLAPP complaint and Wayfarer parties answer summary. In my opinion, this is docket adjacent. So she puts a disclaimer here. They're not legal attorneys, but you can read the exact claim. Wayfarer filed a baseless lawsuit. New York Times wants fees under anti-SLAPP law. And then you can see the response. Denied. Claims its legal conclusion refers to the complaint itself. And so you can see each of its responses here. So there's 30 and how they responded to those 30. And so I thought this was really cool for like if you just want to like just see each claim, claim by claim, and then the response, because it was a pretty simple answer. A lot of people were like, oh, it wasn't like bells and whistles. But the only bells and whistles of it was the citing of the unclean hands, that a lot of people thought that it was Van Zandt. Yes, she changed it. DFJ, it is Yarn and Order. She used to be Yarn and Law, and she changed it to Yarn and Order, and I still forget because her logo is still Yarn and Law. So thank you for clarifying that, DFJ. She will not be doing anything outside of TikTok, so you will need to attend the lives because you won't get access to it otherwise. Yeah. And SGDT, she does have a YouTube channel, but she doesn't post over there. You guys will just have to go on TikTok to go watch their stuff. And they go live, whenever. You'll see it like on TikTok. Same Girl Different Time will usually post it. But if you guys don't know who Yarn and Law is, she is a jury consultant. And so I like to see her insights on it because it's like a different side of things. Let's see. I have no confidence in Lyman and Van Zam Sham. He'll find them a loophole. I mean, we'll see. In that one, Lyman is not the judge. This is a different court. So this is in regular, this isn't in federal court. This is just in regular New York court. I think, right? Am I wrong? But I'm pretty sure that this is just in regular court. State court, right? And thank you, DFJ, for their Same Girl Different Times link. So thank you to the mods. And I don't know if you linked your own channel. Did you answer me about whether your Van Zandt video got taken down? Was that up here? Sorry, I didn't even look at the chat when I asked the question. Because I know you had some good stuff on Van Zandt. I don't really cover Van Zandt, and I do understand it just a little bit from like what I read from other people, but I haven't like really reported on it, just like, what everyone else is reporting on it. I haven't like done my own deep dive into Van Zandt, but I mean, it gets spicy in there. The Van Zandt stuff gets spicy. It's basically, they try to file a subpoena using this company to like Jane Doe's, or file a lawsuit against Jane Doe's, using this company called Van Zandt, and try to hide it basically by saying that they were Doe's when they weren't Doe's. It was the Wayfarer parties. And that's how they got the text messages from Jen Abel that Stephanie Jones had. So yeah, it does get pretty spicy. It's a pretty spicy timeline with that when you follow all that. So let me just make sure that I covered everything. Let me just go back to docket updates and look at the blog. Okay, so then the other thing is there was a joint letter that they updated, and it's updated in the docket updates calendar, but I'm just going to show you. So they basically decided to put all the deadlines and the cutoff dates. And not only that, but we got a list of all the outstanding motions. So if you guys want to know what is still outstanding, it's a bunch of motions for sanctions. Leslie Sloan's attorney fees and cost motion is still outstanding. We also have Jones Works motions for the spoliation, Lively's motions for the spoliation. Those two have deadlines coming up. Motion for sanctions from Mackenzie Folk. So Kenz's motion for sanctions is still in the docket, and it's being acknowledged here. So that was news to me, that one. And then here's the J. Alexander Townsend. That's the guy that was like trying to get into the case, and I think he did cite he's a viewer of Popcorn Planet, and he was basically saying like, look, this is unfair or whatever. The motions to permanently seal exhibits. So you guys can go in here and just kind of look and see what all is left. And then it also says the anticipated length of the jury trial. Lively is saying that she thinks it'll take 3 weeks. Joneswork is saying that it'll take 1 week or less. The Wayfarer parties are saying it'll take 4 weeks. So the 1 week deadline seems kind of cool because then, you know, I know a lot of people are saying they're only going to go for a week. I'm going to try and stay for the full thing. But hopefully, you know, it's better for 1 week than 4 weeks. 4 weeks can get a little expensive and stuff with train rides and all that stuff. So, luckily I have somewhere to stay out there, but you know, it gets expensive with just the travel and, you know, if you have to pay a line sitter and all that stuff. So, we'll see how long it, you know, towards as it gets closer, how long they're thinking it's gonna take. But I like Jonesworks' estimate of 1 week. I don't think it could wrap up in a week, but maybe that's just their portion might wrap up in a week. But 4 weeks is not as bad as like 8 weeks because I think Diddy's was 8 weeks, no? So let me just go to court listener. Okay, so before we go into the final jurisdictional calendar today, you guys, Blake Lively's opposition to the Wayfarer parties, MSJ and MJOP drops today. What do you think she's going to include? So let's go ahead and put y'all's comments in the chat on what you think that's going to include. Here on Reddit, they say, I think she's going to include some text from the cast, something about calling Hoover saying how uncomfortable she was. I think there might be text messages between BL and cast members claiming they saw JB and JH SHing her. There may be text messages between BL and cast members talking about how strong BL is for putting up with it. What do you think she will include? And so I don't know if this is a pro-Lively person or what, but they're basically saying that there might be some. I honestly don't think there's any of these receipts because if it was, it would have already leaked somewhere. She would already put it somewhere. It would have been in her complaints, her initial complaint. I don't think that any of this exists. People would have been more, these cast members would have been more upfront to say something. They wouldn't have waited till the very end. So I don't think that it's going to include that. I honestly think it's going to be a nothing burger. Let's see what else. Declaration from Robin attesting to the trauma that poor Blake incurred. Yeah, if anybody, that it's going to be like something between her and Robin, because everybody has been saying that the other cast member is Robin. That it's just Robin and Jenny. It's not anybody else. It says, I'm curious who's going to tie themselves in this mess from her side under oath. Vivian Baker, though, like everyone's saying that Vivian Baker, the makeup artist, is she the makeup artist or the hairstylist? But she's the one who testified that she put the cloth over Blake, the hair cape over Blake. And so I'm like, that was her best witness. But in the deposition, it's actually the opposite. Like, so if she was completely covered, she was saying she was uncovered. But then Vivian says that the moment that Heath entered, like, you know, we told him no, and he still came in, and then he was like going to go out, but I had already covered her with the cape. And so I'm like, well, she was covered. That's the thing. Like that whole part is just it's gonna be crazy. I don't know, but I guess what it won't be: evidence of an untraceable smear campaign, evidence of retaliation, evidence that she's anything other than a spoil. See, look, I'm even scared to read that, so I'm just gonna highlight it because I'm like, I don't know if we're allowed to say this now. I rest my case, Your Honor. Allegedly, in our opinion, for entertainment purposes. So this is the opinion part of the show. Like, it was so funny because ChatGPT is like, you need to like differentiate when you're like spitting facts and when you're like in the opinion part. So this is the opinion part of the show. This is just in our own opinion. She doesn't have to have any smoking guns for this, though. She just needs to create enough of a factual dispute for the judge to say it needs to go to a jury. Oh, look at that. Chanel knows. Thank you so much. I don't know how to pull it up. Okay, wait, hold on. I gotta go up. Thank you so much for this. I'm gonna try and go to NYC for a few days. I convinced my sister to go with me. She says it will count as my birthday present. Okay, so we'll meet up over there. Chanel knows. I know Bocce is also gonna go. So we'll see Bocce over there. She's going for the first week, I'm pretty sure, because she's landing there after a trip. So that's gonna be like her last little stop after another trip she takes. But yeah, I love Laura. I love this new thing. Want to send CJ money for gas station coffee? Okay, so about the gas station coffees, because I told people I love the 7-Eleven. Because when I was over at Perez, people were saying to do Starbucks. Like, here's some for Starbucks or whatever. I was like, nah, I just do 7-Eleven Colombian Black. Like, that's my favorite. But you know what? In the comments, I got something in the comments yesterday that was like, because I said I drink Folgers Classic, like the instant. And somebody in the comments said, you need to be drinking organic. And I'm like, well, what's a good organic coffee, y'all? If you guys know anything, or if that person who commented is in the chat now, leave in the comments or something, what's a good organic coffee. But mostly I drink a Folgers Instant for the nostalgia, because that's what my mom drank when I was a kid. And it's just like the smell, the nostalgia of just making it makes me think of her. So it's mostly nostalgia. It says, which she will have enough to convince Lyman that this should go to a jury, because he always succumbs to her legal team. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Just Khaleesi says, I'm an instant girl over here. Do you do Folgers Instant too? It's just so easy. It's like and then I have like the tea kettle. It's so easy. And I have a what you call it machine, you know, like the one with the little cups. What is it called again? The K-cup machine, whatever. But yeah, fun. We may cross paths then, depending on when you go. I will be there for the first week. The trial starts on my birthday. Yes. And didn't you say that Chris PR is going to owe you some money if it goes to trial, right? Because was he the one that was saying it wasn't going to trial, or you're the one that was saying it wasn't? I remember y'all had some bet going. But yeah, you were talking about, like, do you have to get in line and stuff? Line sitters are actually, I don't know how expensive they are, but me and Colonel were pricing them when she was going to go. I'm not sure if she's still going, because she's doing the Candace case. She's doing a deep dive on Candace Owens. So I don't know if she's going to still be covering Blake Lively and she's still going or what. Okay, so organic wandering bear cold brew. Okay, DFJ. I'll try it. Your coffee creamer is plant-based. I just got the pumpkin spice Starbucks one for Thanksgiving for like my guests and stuff. And so there's some leftover that I've been kind of like using there. But yeah, so let's go into that's literally Blake over and over dancing. Y'all, I just left the GIF. A lot of cherry picking, a lot of unusual strategic phrasing, a lot of Robin, a lot of uncomfortable quote unquote, a lot of dancing around stuff. Basically Blake's entire MO from the start. So It Ends With Lawsuits is still my go-to, y'all. I don't know. I still go here for updates. So anyways, if you guys want some what the citizens are saying, what the streets are saying, I always check It Ends With Lawsuits. So shout out to It Ends With Lawsuits and everybody creating comments over there. So here's the jurisdictional calendar as we wrap up. The deadline is today for the opposition to the MSJ and the MJOP. The deadline for Jones Works opposition to Jennifer Abel's MSJ is also today. We also have the deadline for Wayfarer Party's substantive opposition to BL and R's Rule 11 motion. You guys remember this one, right? This is the one I told you guys to go over to Colonel's page to listen to the RA Emanuel recording, because that's going to come into play. Because they did use the part where he said, he says that he's ride or die for Ryan and Blake, and that that's the reason why he fired Justin Baldoni. So yeah, go check out the recording. It's over there on her channel. And yeah, Ari Emanuel's going to enter the chat. They basically got another chance. I mean, they've already responded to the Rule 11 motion. This is basically where Ryan wants them to basically, he's telling them that he's telling the judge that they should be held accountable because they filed a lawsuit against him that was like didn't have any grounds. And Wayfarer is basically saying in this response, not only do we have grounds, but we found more information through this deposition, or through the subpoena. Sorry, it was Ryan Reynolds' subpoena. And it seems like it was some text messages or notes or something, but it was redacted. So we don't know what it was. But basically, they're giving them another opportunity to reply, even though he's already replied. So it's a more substantive one. So they're giving him that opportunity, and that's due today. So we might get some Easter eggs in there. Deadline for Wayfarer Party's opposition to Blake Lively's motion to compel is also today. So there's going to be like 2, 3, 4, because this is 2. I consider these 2. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 new things on the docket. We go into December 4th, the RFA that BL sent. And so here you can see all the new ones that got added. Because remember, the last time we only had through December 12th, it was 1. And then I'm like, oh, we get to enjoy the rest of Christmas. Well, no, we don't. Because look, there's more deadlines. This is 2 days before Christmas. Deadline for exchange of expert rebuttals. Okay, well, that's just expert rebuttals. But let's see what this is. Continued sealing of materials submitted. Okay, so that's maybe not like a docket drop deposition of experts. So yeah, maybe it will be done by the 12th, but we'll see. Some more dates got added to January, and then obviously the trial in March. So that's the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We are going to try and play this song. It's Excuse Me, Your Honor. I mean, there's some bops over here. Bocce Gohax has the album Court of Public Opinion. This is what I bop to when I'm making the show. And so this was the track that I used while I made this one. She's also over on Apple Music now, which I was so grateful for because I do use Spotify for certain things that aren't on Apple Music, but mostly all my music consumption is on Apple Music because it's just easier on my phone. I do have the Spotify app, but I don't know, for some reason, just Apple Music just is easier to me. So she's on Apple Music now too. Or you can check out the YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description. And then she's also on Spotify. So I'm going to play this and then I'll come back. I'm going to read the chat for a little bit. I'll come back and say bye to you guys. I'm just going to play like a minute of this. Okay. Let's see if it plays actually.
Excuse me, Your Honor. We just want the same treatment. Just even one sentence. Excuse me, Your Honor. We just want the same treatment. Just be how it will go. Everything you wanted. She got it more. Everything she wanted. She got it more and more and more and more and more.
Oh, is that a bop or what? Y'all could hear it? Y'all could hear it? That's a bop. Like that's a excuse me, Your Honor. Dun, 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 dun. Like it's just it's gonna get y'all hyped for the morning. That's gonna be what I'm gonna be listening to while I am reading all the dockets for today. I will see if we go live this weekend. I'm trying to work on a live for the true crime stuff on Sunday. Some new updates on that. And yes, I still owe y'all a freestyle. I'm gonna do that on the night show though. I'm probably gonna do it on the true crime show. Yes, I do still owe y'all 8 bars. I said I do 8 bars, so I'll drop 8 bars for y'all. Because we ended up, for those that y'all don't know, I was like, if we get 20 super chats, I'll do a freestyle. And then I was counting them wrong because I had put teal and up counted, but I meant to put like all the super chats counted, but it was only counting the teal ones for the gold or for the goal. And so there was a miscommunication, but then after the live, when we counted them all, and then I said I would include DFJ super chats too that weren't showing up in the goal. And so we did end up meeting the goal. And then at the end, everyone's like, are you going to rap? And I'm like, nope, y'all didn't meet the goal. And yeah, it was not true. So I do owe Khaleesi. And actually both Khaleesi's, is it the same Khaleesi or are y'all different Khaleesi's? Because there's just Khaleesi and then there's Khaleesi something else. But both of y'all are getting a shout out today because you guys are like my most involved members as far as commenting in the, like after the fact. I have the most comments from you guys in my videos. So yes, please comment below. Today, it's the same Khaleesi because there's 2 names on it. It's at just Khaleesi and the other one's Khaleesi something else. It's 2 different usernames. So I was like, maybe she goes on by the same name, but on 2 different like channels or accounts. Okay, so it's the same Khaleesi. So yeah, you're my top 2. Yeah, Khaleesi Dire Wolves is the other one. Yes, that's it. Only one Khaleesi me, but they're both mine. Okay, so then it's you. So thank you for being the top commentator on the comments after the fact. I appreciate that. That helps a lot. It helps the algorithm when you guys comment. What should be the word that we comment today? I want to, maybe it's justice for citizen journalism. Justice for citizen journalism. If you watched it all the way through, type in justice for citizen journalism in the comments, and then just leave your comments on anything as far as what you thought about Megan. Thank you DFJ and Laura for modding today. I know it was like last minute, late last night, and I was like, dude, I gotta get on. And shout out to Andy, and hopefully we do get that collab with Nerd Report. I heard somebody say that we should do a collab talking about the Deadpool UK stuff. Yeah, we'll see if we can get a collab done with him somehow, because I really love his stuff and listening to him. He invited me on his live once, and I was in the car and I couldn't But yeah, hopefully we can get him on. So shout out to everyone and thank you guys for hanging out with me. Like I said, I'll keep you guys updated if I do something this weekend. If not, I will see you guys on Monday morning show. This is Objection Live. Hope y'all like it and see y'all soon. Bye.